see, let's take the we take this left column. We'll just move these guys out of the way for the moment, and we'll go to this one, and we'll say that okay, we want all of our content. So we've got this the salmon wrapper div, and then we've got a left column. Well, how do we get the left column to be a left column? Well, it's going to have to float on the left-hand side is what it's going to have to do. Um, and that's another way to get things seen inside. But, well, we'll just go with this. So we would put this div inside of here, probably a section. Or, well, this would probably be your section, then an article in here. And maybe inside this article, for some reason, we have two more things. So we'll take this and duplicate it. And the first thing, oh, hold on a minute. The first one will have float left inside of this little, we'll pretend this is an article. And the second one, we will float right. So maybe one of these things is a paragraph and maybe one of them is an image. Okay, and we'll do it this way to look a little cleaner. Okay. So we have two elements inside of this article. Paragraph, image. Float left, float right. But the problem is this article isn't floated, and so what does it do? It doesn't see, and we want this article's background color or background image to show. Right now, this is what would happen. You have two elements hanging out inside of this article. They've been floated, so the article doesn't see it. Now, how do you make the article see those guys? You do one of these things. So you got your article begins and your article ends. And we're going to take this class. We can put classes wherever we want. So we'll take this and so we put a line break in there with a class of clear float, and now this sees those two things, so it can wrap it. And then there's the other way to make well, there's many ways, but another way that is frequently used to make elements see floated elements inside of them, and that is to actually float the container. So we can do this BR class of clear float in here, and it will make the article see the floated left paragraph and the floated right image, and it'll wrap it, and life will be good. The other way that we could do that is, let's just say we have, for some reason, this layout is different. Maybe the layout is like this. And maybe we have two articles, one floating left, one floating right. Well, that's the other way to get an element, a containing element, to see floated stuff inside of it. If this element is floated left or floated right, if it's floated, it will automatically wrap the stuff that's inside of it without putting in one of these. Okay. So now we have these two floated, we have this article floated left, this article floated right. Inside of there we have a paragraph floated left, a paragraph floated right. Now we run into the problem of this element currently is not floated. And it doesn't have a clear float in it. It doesn't see these guys, so it'll collapse, so we won't have this gray color. So to get it to see it, we either have to float it, which doesn't make sense since we're going to have it take up the whole width of our layout, or we do another one of these BRs in here. So that layout would look something, let me show you the code here, what that would look like. So this is all this code would look like. We have a wrapper, we have a section, we have an article that makes up our left article, an article that makes up our right article. Inside both articles there's a paragraph. I added that in here just so that the article has some height to it. And we have an image in here. And the wrapper div ends here. The overall section, this gray section, ends right here. So this is a rather simple layout that we would probably never create, but for the purposes of this video, we will just go ahead and have a look at it and build it out. So here's what we have to begin with. Nothing, right? So we'll start from the outside and work our way in. First thing that I'm going to do is to create a universal selector and save it in a new style sheet. I know it says main CSS is there, but really it's lying. And so I deleted it and it didn't refresh. So there we have our universal selector, zeroing out padding and margin. So we go from this to this. Okay. Now for the body, I will go ahead and apply this color. So I will sample the color, eyedropper, grab my color, and I will set, actually I'm not going to do it to body, I apologize. I'm going to do it to the wrapper div. So for body, I will go ahead though and set the font in here. And the color is by default going to be black. So I haven't done a whole lot to this layout yet, except change the font. Okay. Alright, now let's talk about this salmon colored thingy, and we've got that color sampled from Photoshop. So that is my div of a wrapper, and my layout here is 955 pixels wide. So I'm going to create a new rule for wrapper. It's going in main CSS, click OK, box 955 wide, background color, the color that I sampled from Photoshop. Remember, it's a hexadecimal color, so you have to put your pound symbol in there. I'm going to save all, preview in browser, and now we have this happening. And if you remember from the previous video, we're going to center this as well, just because it'll drive me a little nuts if I don't. So I'm going through that quickly. It's been demoed already in another video. So now it's centered. So we went from that to that. Okay, the next thing is this box. We don't have our clear floats in yet, and I want you to see what happens if we don't do clear floats. So this box, we have a color for this box. This will be the last thing I do in this video. I'm going to continue it in the next video. So that's my sample, and this is for the section. And all I'm going to do right now is give this section a, and I'm going to go ahead and, it's an example box. I'm going to go ahead and target just the example box because I may have other sections in my layout later. And I'm going to give this a background color. Save all. And now everything's still being held. Life is good, not a problem, right? And with that, I will continue in the next video, adjust a couple things and go from there.